Hi, welcome to WMD, that's Woody's Modelling Diary. And today we're having a look at this latest addition to the fleet at Chalkton, my 009 narrow gauge layout. It's a track maintenance vehicle, it's DCC chipped, and it cost me 47 quid. So let's take it to the bench and have a closer look. We're here on the bench. You may be thinking that although there's been quite a few developments by the major manufacturers in 009 narrow gauge locos, you've not seen one of these in their catalogues. And this is actually a 3D print which I picked up at the Sleaford Model Makers show. It cost me all of £9 and it was designed to fit on a Kato 109 pocket line chassis, and these are readily available. I bought this for £26. You can find them in varying amounts between sort of £20 and £30 on various sources on the internet. If you want a bulk purchase, looking at the internet, you can get 10 of these from Japan for about £110, but obviously there's going to be some import duties and various other costs to pay. But for what they are quite economical, and that's mounted on there. There is a DCC chip in it. It's a lace DCC chip, and rather than separate that out from that printed body, here's another one I've already done. Reasonably simple to put a chip into. Once you find out the way to actually split the chassis, the top comes off, and there's just basically, it's a split metal chassis isolated between the two chassis halves. The motor picks up from either side, so all you have to do is substitute the pickups for the red and black on the DC, and then solder the orange and grey onto the remaining wires from the motor, and it all clips together, and using a small decoder it nicely fits into that body there. Quite simple. There is a downside with these, and it is a cordless 3-volt motor, so when you put it onto DCC, because of the way in which the chip supplies power, they're not that slow running. And doing a little bit of research again on the internet, you do come up with various solutions which include things like resistors, diodes, capacitors, and various other electronic wizardry. To be quite honest, I'm not quite into that, and one of the downsides, especially of putting a resistor in, is that you can create quite a bit of heat, and within a small body that's the last thing you want. So I'm quite happy, and we'll see it running in a short while, which will give you an idea of what these things are like. But apart from that, for £26 and £12 for the Laos chip, I think that's quite a good little bargain there. And again, £9 for the body. That gives a total of £47. Excuse me, which is not a bad price for a loco like that. The actual print itself, it's quite detailed. You've obviously got a little exhaust stack there. There's detail in the body. I've painted up these as clay pipes and some timber. You've got the little gates at the back. You've also got the coupling, and you've even got a nameplate there, Shelley. You can just see a bit of wiring. I've got to press that down. And the front I particularly like, with the radiator grille and the various filler caps. Carefully painted up. I did initially airbrush the green on, and then hand painted all the other details. The glazing itself is glue and glaze, which has come up reasonably well. I've not done the side windows, basically because I just need to have a little bit of ventilation in there just to cool things down. You don't want to seal up a DCC chip too heavily. It does heat up, and it needs somewhere to dissipate its heat. So there you have it. The only other downside of this, of course, is with most 3D prints at the moment, there's always going to be a little bit of the sort of raised lines from the various layers of plastic which go to make up the moulding itself, or the build of the structure. This one's not too bad. It's quite a high quality print. So there you have it, £47. You can't really go wrong at that price, can you? And I must admit, that chassis there is actually for this, which is another print I did pick up. I'm just in the process of building this one. That again is another sort of maintenance vehicle. I've got to do a little bit more work on it, that's why it's a work in progress at the moment. But anyway, let's take this one, number 6 Shelley, and let's put it on the track and just see what she does. Well, there she is, Shelley number 6 on the track. And I think she fits in quite well with the overall theme of the layout. Very, very pleased with it. It's probably taken me about 10 hours to fettle it up, paint it up, and do the DCC conversion. But I think it's time well spent. I've certainly enjoyed this little project. It's made a good break from other things. One thing which I will just mention about the Kato chassis, which I should have done whilst we're on the bench, but the good thing about these chassis is that the wheels do have a fair amount of compensation and movement in them, which, if your track is like mine, is quite a good thing to have. Anyway, enough of that. Let's see Shelley on the move. I've played around with the CV values a little bit just to get her to move off a bit more smoothly than the Kato chassis would with the default settings. So that's CV 2, 3, 5 and 6. Well, there you have it. I hope that's been of interest. It might inspire you to have a go at one of these yourself. One of the great things about 3D prints is that it does allow people to get out there and design stuff and put it out for sale at quite competitive prices, and the quality is going up and up. And I can foresee one day when you'll just, in effect, have a 3D printer at home and just print these things off with a file that gets sent to you. But that's probably a long, long way away for many of us. In the meantime, I'm just going to make use of buying some of these bargains. And I think you've got to admit, for £47 for a DCC chipped 009 Loco, it's not bad. I've had to put a little bit of effort into painting it and fettling it, but £49 is £49, and it's certainly a lot cheaper than the mainstay products which the manufacturers are putting out. So think about having a go yourself. If you don't put a DCC chip into it, it's going to be even cheaper. It will take you down to about £35. You can pick up prints on the internet from anywhere between sort of £10 and £30. The chassis themselves, as I said, between £20 and £30. So it's a cheap option, and I hope that seeing this may inspire you to have a go yourself. Certainly if you just buy the print and you make a mess of it, it's not a huge sacrifice monetary wise. So have a go. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. And to those of you who've subscribed, many thanks. It really is appreciated. And you take care of yourselves, and we'll see you again. Bye.